At a time when ransomware attacks, election interference, and critical infrastructure breaches are rising, the federal government is cutting nearly $500 million from cybersecurity programs that protect states and local communities. Programs like ISACs, which provide real-time threat sharing and support for schools, hospitals, and public utilities, are being gutted, leaving the weakest links in our national security chain exposed. While Washington secures its own networks, hackers will target vulnerable local systems, risking blackouts, stolen data, and disrupted emergency services.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for being here. You know, Michigan's a border state, so we need each other. We have a very big bridge that's being inaugurated, ribbon cut in September. We need that to be fully staffed. We have a lot going on in Michigan as a northern border state, so we need each other. But what I'm concerned about is that you've taken the mandate to close off the border beyond going after, as you say, the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants. I'm a CIA officer. I worked my entire life to protect the homeland. If someone's here illegally, they need to not be here. They've committed a crime by being here. They need to go back to wherever they're from. But my concern is that either through sloppiness or intent, you have gone far beyond going after the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants and gone into legal immigrants who were given the ability to be here, and even American citizens. And when I think about that, you know, there are lots of people in this country, including me, who have families who fled this kind of environment where they have no rights, where they have no due process, where they don't have habeas corpus. So while I'll be the first to say, coming from a state that was won by Trump, that there is a mandate to do something about the border, I think it is absolute dangerous overreach to go beyond that and start picking up American citizens and people who have the legal right to be here, lawful immigrants who have done everything right. So first and foremost, do you acknowledge that your department has made some mistakes, any mistakes, in going after either American citizens or legal immigrants here in the time that you've been in office?
We have not deported any U.S. citizens.
Detained?
Or people get interviewed. If they get interviewed and they go through that process and we find that they're U.S. citizens or legal immigrants, they stay in the United States.
Have you deported
we have to go through the vetting process.
Have any American citizens, including children, been deported during your time in office?
We have children that mothers have chosen to keep with them. So those
by my count, you have 10 American citizens, including children with cancer, who have been deported out of the country. I understand you're saying it's their choice.
But the mothers,
it's hard to imagine a small child having a choice. But have you gone after legal immigrants? Again, your standard in your opening statement was the most dangerous illegal immigrants. Does that include PhD students and master students at colleges across the country, unarmed? Are they the most dangerous illegal when they have status and no weapons?
I don't decide who gets status through a student program. The Department of State decides that, and we enforce it.
Oh, come on.
That's what our Department of Homeland Security does.
I just would offer that, again, I have no qualms with going after folks who are here illegally. That is not my concern. That was part of my job, was to prevent people from coming here illegally in a former life. My concern is you're sending a chill down the spine of America by going after people who either have legal status or American citizens. And when my colleagues ask you about habeas corpus, and you say, literally, we can review the tape, that you believe it's a right the president has, you sat here in front of all of us and swore an oath to the Constitution, and that is not at all what habeas corpus is. It is a right that we all get, that American citizens get, that people who are in the United States legally have. So my concern is it's complete overreach. I don't think American citizens, even those who voted for Trump, believe that you should be able to just grab someone off the street, sloppy, who has the legal right to be here, and certainly an American citizen. And I just am concerned that while you say you're going after the most dangerous folks, what you're actually doing is going after folks for political reasons, right? A PhD student that's unarmed is not at the top of the list.
And we're not deporting U.S. citizens, and we're not deporting people who have legal status here.
10 American citizens
if the children have gone
deported
with their parents, it's because their parents wanted them with them.
So let me ask you another question about cybersecurity. You know, you've cut $500 million from the budget. What specific programs are you cutting? Because there are programs that really aid states and locals that we depend on for cybersecurity. And we know that right now, while we may have good security in the federal government, if you are a local state official, you're depending on the federal government. So have you cut the ISAC program, the program to states and locals on cybersecurity?
The president's recommended budget has a reduction in $491 million.
Does it cut that program? I've heard the talking point.
And what it's doing is putting
cut the
CISA
program?
back on mission.
And
it's
you can't
ensuring
say
that
this is the most
cybersecurity is going to be strengthened.
You cannot say it's the most cyber secure administration if you're cutting the program to my state and to your state.
It will
and if you
be
look
when
on
we-
record, that's what you've cut. I yield back.
Time has expired. Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Noem, good to see you.
Cybersecurity isn't optional. It's the front line of modern national defense. Slashing these protections sends a dangerous message. Political optics are being prioritized over protecting Americans from real evolving threats. Imagine living in America, believing your rights are protected, and then discovering the government thinks habeas corpus, the bedrock of due process, is a privilege for the president, not for you. That's exactly what Rep. Elissa Slotkin exposed in a stunning hearing with DHS Secretary Noem. 10 U.S. citizens, including children, one battling cancer, were swept up in deportations. Legal immigrants and PhD students with no criminal record were targeted, all while DHS slashed nearly $500 million from cybersecurity programs meant to protect states and local communities. This isn't about border security. It's about political theater, overreach, and a betrayal of the Constitution. If you care about civil rights, national security, and truth over spin, you need to hear this. Habeas corpus and due process are two cornerstones of American freedom. Habeas corpus, Latin for you shall have the body, is a constitutional right that protects people from unlawful detention. It allows anyone being held by the government to challenge their detention in court, and forces authorities to justify why they are holding that person. Without habeas corpus, officials could detain people indefinitely without evidence or a trial, a hallmark of authoritarian regimes. Due process, guaranteed by the 5th and 14th Amendments, ensures that the government cannot deprive anyone of life, liberty, or property without fair procedures. This includes the right to be heard in court, to have legal representation, and to face an impartial judge. Together, habeas corpus and due process are essential safeguards against government overreach. They apply not just to citizens but to anyone legally in the United States, embodying the principle that no one is above the law, even the government itself. The alleged deportation of U.S. citizens and legal residents strikes at the heart of constitutional protections. Reports have surfaced of American citizens, including children, being removed from the country when parents facing deportation choose to keep their families together. Critics argue that such actions blur the line between enforcement and overreach, as no child with a serious illness truly chooses exile. Legal residents such as students, workers, and long-term visa holders have also reportedly faced detention or removal despite having lawful status. These incidents raise grave concerns about due process and habeas corpus, rights that protect individuals from wrongful detention and removal. Wrongful deportations not only violate individual liberties, but also erode trust in the government's ability to enforce immigration laws fairly. Advocates warn that sweeping enforcement actions risk punishing the innocent, while the Constitution demands rigorous checks before the government can strip anyone, citizen or legal resident, of their right to remain in the country. The targeting of legal immigrants and international students in immigration enforcement highlights a troubling shift from public safety to political theater. Legal residents, including those on work visas, green cards, or student visas, are supposed to be protected as long as they comply with the law. Yet reports show that even PhD and master's students, who contribute to U.S. research and the economy, have faced detentions or removal proceedings despite having valid status. Such actions send a chilling message to communities that have followed every rule. Lawful presence may no longer shield you from government overreach. This approach risks discouraging talented students and workers from coming to the United States, harming universities and industries that depend on global talent. Critics argue that focusing on compliant immigrants instead of genuine security threats undermines the integrity of immigration policy, erodes trust, and invites constitutional challenges. True border security targets dangerous actors, not those who are here legally, learning and contributing to the nation. While immigration enforcement dominates headlines, a quieter crisis is unfolding: cuts to federal cybersecurity programs. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has reportedly slashed nearly $500 million from critical cybersecurity initiatives, including programs like ISAC's information sharing and analysis centers that help states and local governments defend against cyber threats. These programs are a frontline defense against ransomware attacks, election interference, and breaches of public infrastructure. Critics warn that reducing funding leaves states and municipalities, already stretched thin, vulnerable to sophisticated attacks from foreign adversaries and criminal networks. Ironically, federal agencies may maintain robust cybersecurity, but the weakest link is often at the local level, where schools, hospitals, and public utilities face daily threats. Cutting support undermines national resilience and contradicts claims of having the most cybersecure administration. In an era of escalating cyber warfare, dismantling the very programs that protect local governments and critical infrastructure is not just short-sighted, it's a national security risk.